is 51 degrees. I'm Sam Scott for KTUI.
Hey, good morning and welcome back. Here we are live at the White Mule Winery on the high plains of Gascoyne County. 50 degrees here at airtime and blue sky poking through pretty well at this juncture. Just in the last half hour, 40 minutes, it's kind of clearing up out here, and the front came through, and you know, my little app said that we're supposed to have rain at between like 3 and 5 o'clock this morning, and we didn't get any. We didn't get any participation. Did you, Grace? Did it rain?
No.
I mean, I know you're just right over the hill there, but you know.
Didn't rain in my house.
It didn't rain at all, so it is what it is, and that's absolutely okay. You know, this time of year we don't need much. I know there's some crops that people are trying to finish up and get out, and the grass is about dead, all that it's going to do, I think, but you might have to cut one more time, Grace, so I wouldn't greed my more in yet, you know.
I definitely have to weed eat, that's for sure.
You definitely,
yeah.
Of course,
one more time.
Yeah, well, that's, you've always got to do that, you know, there's no question. So, hey, welcome aboard here this morning on KTUI, 1560 AM, 94.1 FM, or possibly you're watching on Facebook Live. If so, it's good to have you aboard here today. And first order of business is to thank the vets. Today is Veterans Day, and you know, we a lot of times have you know, a veteran or two here. It worked out this year where we're going to be doing it a little bit later with several of them, but just appreciate the commitment and the dedication and the sacrifice that those veterans have made for us and our country, and we are riding on their shoulders without a doubt, and they continue to do what they do, and that keep us safe in so many ways, and so much that we don't know as civilians about what they do and what they continue to do, and continue across the world putting themselves in harm's way, and we can't even imagine what kind of sacrifices them and their family has paid, does pay, and will pay for our freedom. So when you see one this week, hats off to them, and tell them you appreciate them. Tell them you love them and what they have did for us, because you know, they deserve it. If any of us, if any do, those veterans do, and especially those, all of those, without a doubt. There's no especially to it, but those that died in the fight for freedom, them and their families, we will continue to honor them. I hope, I will, but I hope this country does, and I hope we don't woke them, you know, so call it like it is, and tell them thanks for being there always, and hats off, and come to the White Mule, Grace, he'll buy you a drink, right?
Sure.
Absolutely, we will. This weekend, we'll buy all the veterans a drink whenever they're there. If you mention it to us, and you know, let us know. Wear your colors, wear your hats. You know, it's a good weekend to give thanks, even though it is deer season, and that's another great thing to be thankful for, is the conservation and what they have did to you know, allow us to enjoy our gun rights and our freedom when we're out there hunting each and every, not each and every day, Jason. I don't hunt particularly every day. I don't hardly hunt that much at all, but Jason, I haven't
heard you hit.
Jason Eichelman, actually Corporal Jason Eichelman. He's got new brass that he's wearing. Congratulations to you and what you do. Jason has been our area's conservation agent. They might go by other titles,
No,
but
conservation.
at this juncture, but
Conservation agent is what we are.
that's what you are.
Some people call us game warden, same thing.
Conservation agent, but you've been here for 4 or 5 years at least now, huh?
Or longer than that. July of '07,
07. But you've been with the department,
since January 1st of '01. I was in Montgomery County before Gascony County.
wow, that's 01. That's nigh on to 20 years.
Gonna be 21 here shortly.
Well, I appreciate your service, and of course, I appreciate 90% of what the conservation does,
Understand?
but we're glad to have you aboard, and we're pleased with the work, and we're pleased with the resources that we have to turn over to my kids, at this juncture, and furthermore, my grandkids, you know what I'm saying? I mean, we're looking, at that particular situation and Missouri's legacy on wildlife management, hunting, fishing, continues to grow.
Yep. And that's always a continuous struggle for the department to recruit young anglers, young sportsmen, to get away from, technology, to get outdoors, enjoy. Maybe they've never been fishing. We have a lot of kids who have never touched a fishing pool. So we want to get, we have programs of that so we can bring them in, show them how to fish, show them how to cast. They catch their first fish. Hopefully they're hooked and continue to fish. Hunting, deer hunting and things like that take a little bit more assistance from older people, mentors, to get them out there. The way the world is today, both parents work, so it's hard to get those youngsters out in the woods. But that's our focus is to recruit more hunters for the future.
Well, and you've got partners helping do that. You know what I'm saying? There's no question about it. Those things, said, it does. And it's hard to recognize, Jason, just how blessed we are, in regard to our hunting and fishing resources that we have out there, especially of us that grew up in the rural areas, and where we grew up, having ample land, you know what I'm saying, and, rivers, to fish in, but there's no question that taking a kid fishing requires less resources, because there's more places that they can go, more streams that they can go in, more private, ponds, that they can do, and it's much more open, and $15, you know what I'm saying, for a kid, for a cane pole, whatever they are, I don't know.
Whatever pole they want to use, and not even fishing, just getting them out into one of our NBC areas and go on a nature hike. Experience the outdoors. Most of them, some of them have just been really fortunate because we are in the rural areas, which we know the outdoors. But you get into the urban areas, their woods are 3 trees over there, and they don't really know what a forest is. So if you can get them out and get them on a NBC area and go on a nature hike and just experience nature, you don't have to hunt, you don't have to fish, just get out in nature and enjoy it.
Yeah, and that, we carry a gun and we hunt sometimes and do whatever, but in all honesty, at my age, the real goal is to get outside into nature anymore. You know what I'm saying? If I haven't taken illegal, I haven't taken a deer for, I don't know, probably 10 years, and I've had some ample opportunity to do that. Although I don't, it's not that, I mean, I will if I can beat Grace. But why drag something home that I'm only getting ridiculed for? You know what I mean? It's not that we need to meet.
Right, and that's what a lot of people will, they go on a deer stand to decompress, to get away. They'll go on their bow stand, they've had a busy day, get a few hours, they're going just to get rid of the cell phone and just enjoy nature, listen to just quietness, essentially. It's been a rough 2 years, for everybody. So just to have that place that you can go and decompress, it's beneficial on the body, the mind, the spirit, and everything else.
And that's one of the places that we have continued to encourage, even during, the COVID all the way through, to get out, enjoy the outdoors, and appreciate it. And you know what? Just looking by the number of people that go past here, we're pulling, an RV or a side-by-side, or a four-wheeler or anything. It is pretty amazing.
Starting today and tomorrow, it'll be even more. But the pandemic did allow people, and the department of NDC, we promoted that, to get outdoors, go to NDC areas and just places you haven't been before, and experience what Missouri has to offer as far as nature areas, fishing locations, future hunting spots, and just be outdoors and experience. We do have the Mo Outdoors app you can download on your smartphone, and that will show you all the MDC areas that bring you up where you are now and give you all the areas that are close to you. So that's another opportunity to where if you don't know where to go, there's ways to find that information.
I would guess, and I don't know this, but I would guess if you are a fisher person, a hiker, or a hunter, that you could probably start in, any year, and if you picked a different place every week to go, that you would be at an adventure that would take several years to get through. If you visit each one of these and spend a little bit of time, and each of these areas are going to have some uniqueness, to them. There's going to be this, that, or whatever, whether it's, plants or flowers or trees or, even the, and the wildlife and the birds. It's all going to be somewhat different.
Right. Unique to that geographical location. You may have down south, you have not just NDC areas, but you have natural resource areas, Elephant Rock. You have different places that you go, and you're going to see different things that we don't see up here. I consider north. But, further south you go, even further north you go, you get past 70, you're up into the tundra almost. It's all flat and things like that. So it's just different geographical area. You're going to see different wildlife, you're going to see different birds.
It's been a while since I've been down there, but, really a different world is around Shannon, County, Missouri. If anybody wants to experience wilderness, you know what I'm saying, and, a different lifestyle that's there, if you can find it, you know what I'm saying, because it is very sparse yet, very unpopulated, but an awesome venture. Just even driving through, and looking at some of those areas are pretty awesome.
A lot of Forest Service ground that you can hike on, things like that. We have the elk viewing area down in the
exactly.
Part, so there's.
Have you seen those in their habitat?
I've not been down there to see those, to do the tour or anything like that. But like I said, there's many avenues to find this information. With our app, or get on ndc.mo.gov and look these places up and find out where to go.
You're speaking of the apps, I don't use anything, I guess, but the weather one or whatever, but the kids have these apps on their phone. There really isn't much excuse anymore for being on the neighbor's ground.
Not. And it is a technology world. I have to use my 12-year-old, my 9-year-old, or 13-year-old to get through a lot of them. But the apps and the information you can have at your fingertips is truly amazing. When I first started, cell phones, well, we didn't even have cell phones. So it's come a long way, and that information is there. We have our Mo Hunting app, which you can buy your permits. You have your permits on your phone, so everything is right there. So the Onyx, I believe, is the app you're referring to, that gives you
Yes,
where you
property
go,
lines
property lines and things like
and
that.
who owns it and whatever, or just a whole bunch of good information that, it kind of lets you know who your neighbors are, because, if you went to my property lines and asked me right now who all of my neighbors is, I doubt if I could tell you.
Well, that's because you have too much ground. You don't know.
Well, great is that.
No one there. But no, you're right, and that's with technology like that. It's always good to know your neighbors, especially with deer season coming up. What happens if that deer crosses
Exactly.
and gets on the other part? Do you have the legal right to go get it?
Do we?
No, that would be trespass. You have to get permission before you can go get that deer from the landowner. So it's always good to know your landowners before the season, not wait till opening morning at 7:30 and try to figure out where. So if you don't want somebody trespassing, they shoot a deer, there you go.
Okay, I've never, let's move on. Maybe once in my life, you know what I'm saying? But there's a pretty good blood trace.
It happens a lot, but that is...
I do understand that you need to, and we do for the most part. I'm saying,
Most people do.
I'm just saying that a lot of this distant ownership, of these smaller tracts, they change pretty radically sometimes.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And from year to year, not exactly sure.
Right, we have a lot of absentee land that live in St. Louis or a different state, and they have property here, whether, whatever the reason they buy it, investment or whatever, but it does change hands every 2 or 3
And a lot of that stays in the same family, but it still changes hands.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I can name you 2 or 3, and I'm serious,
Right.
that we touch, that there's been losses or changes in those in the last year or two, so got to do your homework. And speaking of homework, did you get my deer tag yet?
Nope, I'll get it today, though.
Is it too late?
No.
No, you're good. I'll be checking again on... See if you purchased it.
So a lot of choices to make in the deer permits, landowner permits, you know what I'm saying? Tell me about this.
Register your land through the department, and that'll allow you to get landowner permits. You have to have 20 acres or more, the one continuous tract, that you own, not, a family member owns it.
Right.
You have to own it yourself, and then you go through the department, apply for that.
What if your wife owns it?
You live there.
Yeah, okay, all right.
You're an immediate household member at that point. So you're good there, but yeah, 20 acres or more, and the system will not let you get landowner permits until you register that property.
I think I'm registered because we've got them, you know what I'm
If you got
saying?
them last year,
Yeah.
then you're registered, and it's good, I think, for 3 years.
Is that what, okay, yeah.
They'll let you know what you're gonna read.
But, speaking to that, there is a continual change of rules, on how government is and what it does, and, a lot of this, in my opinion, is driven by technology, that you have to change to some degree, and, you need to, but also rewriting some of the rules and different determination, in regard to that, and season hunting dates, change, so that's, new kind of stuff. But the big thing, in my opinion, is speaking on the technology part, is that how many different weaponries, seasons, can you use now? I mean, it's numerous, correct?
Right, we have our firearm season, we had our youth season, which was...
You see, and since you mentioned that, how was you season?
That was roughly, and don't quote me on it, was around 15,000 deer we took throughout the state.
Is that average, or?
Yeah, I think we were 200 deer down from last year, which
Okay.
is still right there.
Yeah.
And we had a little over 200 in Gasconade County, so that's pretty much where we were the year before, roughly, give or take a few. So it was productive. They had good weather. excellent weekend.
Good weather. This is just my observation, you know, it's not biology or anything, but, you know, I went to Lynn week before this. This would have been the week after youth season, you know, when it really got cold, you know, for a period of time. And that was the day, 2 or 3 days that I seen the most bucks moving, you know, was after that youth and before the next weekend there. Right there, it seemed to me like, wow, this has got to be the heart of it. It's impossible, you know. I know you try to hit it on the youth, you know what I'm saying, but but sunlight and day and all these other different weather conditions, it's still huge. If it's hot out there,
We have a time frame, give or take a week or two in there.
Right.
That it happens. Sometimes it lands on the youth season, sometimes it lands closer to the adult rifle season, the regular rifle season. They're chasing really good right now, still. So it's going to be good this weekend, throughout the season.
I don't think
Weather's going to be there. It's going to be on the colder side. Some people don't like the cold, but you know, to me, that's
that's a reason to buy new clothes. You know what I'm saying? And, underwear and spend all the money you are on. I mean, some of these deer stands.
It's better than, you know, some people, I mean, they have recliner chairs in there, they have solar panels, they have coffee makers going,
and they're just comfortable, and you can spend all day in there, and, you know, I mean, they're, you know, these poly insulated, whatever, window, easy, and you know, they're expensive investment, you know.
so you can put them essentially anywhere you want. You don't need a tree. You know, you're not using wood, things like that. And that's when we try to get out before archery season. You know, people will have stands up from the year before, or even firearm season coming up. Get out and check your stand if it is one that you put in wood, because animals out there play havoc on straps. Squirrels love to eat the straps that you strap to the tree. You know, you have problems with the wood rotting, and, you know, we don't want to have, you know, somebody going up their tree stand and fall because they didn't take the time to go out and check their ladder before the, you know, opening day.
You know, we're blessed to have a good large footprint, and we do allow, you know, all our family first, but, you know, numerous friends, and, you know, to come in and hunt the ground and do whatever, but the landscape has changed so much in the past 10 years or 15 years, maybe, I don't know, time gets away. We have a lot of stands up out there, I keep noticing. Every year, and I don't know how many, but I mean, every nook and cranny.
Has a deer stand, and that's a lot of the farms around. I mean, that's the area we live in. Drive around, you see deer stands in the fields and, you know, wood lines, and, you know, you're starting to see, you know, of course, Saturday comes up, you can see hopefully a lot of orange, because that is a requirement to wear. But yeah, it is, and deer hunting is a big thing in our area, our part of the world. Not only for, you know, just the actual hunting of it, but for businesses in the county, because we bring a lot of people into the county, and most of them are here for more than just 2 days. You know, they're here for the weekend, but they'll take time off from work and be here throughout the week. So, you know, it's helping everybody, the economy, everything together.
There's no question, and you know, you can go to anywhere, you know, Cabela's, Walmart, whoever. A lot of them are homemade, but, you know, some of these little stands with a seat on them that some bow hunters use, you know what I'm saying? There ain't nothing to them. You know, and I ain't climbing up there. There's no way in the world you kind of strap in and sit up there in a square like this, but bow hunters somehow enjoy that, I guess they do whatever. But they're only $70 a piece or $50 a piece on sale.
For them to move those around different spots, you know, they can do that. I definitely look at them as far as the weight ratio goes on them before that's just my personal.
You covered very well,
I need a little bit more seat on there, but no, those are. A lot of the ladder stands, $70, $80. The big thing with those is, you know, to have a safety harness. And a lot of people don't do that, which I still don't understand that. If you can get a real good one, and it's only going to cost you $100, $150 to have an excellent one, and that's going to protect you. We have tree stand falls every year. obviously they don't want to fall from the tree, but if they have their safety harness on and they fall, nothing happens. They're safe.
Yeah, it's, that, and I don't know, how many pictures do you have of me on your deer cam? Because every other place I go, there's another deer cam, so I just, when I notice them, but I don't notice them all.
Everywhere. A lot of people use them for
They are a good tool. There's no question for, they kind of make things somewhat easier, but let's not forget about traditional sign reading, because that is old school, but it's still what I enjoy the most out of any hunting, is telling Grace where to go. Now, she don't listen no more, but I usually send her to Ben's. Senator Cooper,
that seems to work out well. But no, you're right. You have to get out and learn to read signs, know what deer, their habits, their what they do. If you have a good acorn, you're going to hunt an open field. No, I'm not. I'm going to be in the woods.
Matter of fact, they haven't been out much at all now since the real cold snap for a day or two, because acorns are out there.
Yeah, and then some people, if they don't know that, they're still going to be hunting fields and not have success, and there's no deer around. Well, the deer are eating the acorns, because that's a food source that goes away when they eat them all, or it freezes enough and they get bad. So they know where your food plots are. They know where the leftover fields are from harvest. They know where those are. They're not going anywhere. So
and a good deer hunter knows his acorns.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know that chinkapin, you know that those, little pin oak, chinkapin, whatever, that they're going to drive deer, turkey, and everything there. They must be like candy to them. Because
can't get enough of it until it's gone.
Yeah, I mean.
But that's one of those they don't have every year. They could have for 2 or 3 years, and then they don't have them. So they know, like I said, they know where your food plots are, and they'll hit those. Well, they haven't been in my food plots, but they don't have a reason for it yet. They're in the woods eating acorns or things like that they know are going to go bad and have a shelf life.
We had one of those big old oaks right in front of our house. I mean, not 30 feet from our front door. And whenever that would bear, out in the middle of nowhere, you know what I'm saying? Yep. Whenever that would bear, you'd go out there at night, right underneath, the dusted dawn light, there'd be deers eating on that, until they were cleaned up,
And then they move on.
Not that I would have made use of that.
Right. I would never get. And that's why having, putting food plots in to keep, what does a deer need? Just like a human, you need water, shelter, and food. So if you have all three of those components on your property, they may leave for a little bit, but they're going to come back, because that's what they have everything they need there. But if you have the water and the shelter but no food source, where are they going to go? They're going to go over here to the food source, and that food source may have shelter and water, so why am I going back over here? So, food plots and people are starting to do those a lot more.
Oh my goodness, they are doing it, and, some of the stuff they're putting in is way expensive, they're really way good, you wouldn't think that anything would be much better than soybeans and corn, but there is.
There is.
There's green stuff out there growing that just like
different times of the year that comes up.
Always, exactly.
So, you have colder winter, you have turnips, they're going to be digging up those turnips, eating those. So, all those, and hunters are getting to be better at putting food plots in. And not only deer are going to eat those food plots, it benefits all wildlife.
Right,
so,
right.
It's a good practice to do.
Keeps your cycle there, and does whatever. Skipping around here a little bit, but back to youth season, because there's a group that had a youth season at the Herman Rod and Gun Club this year, and they put together quite a program for these youth. I don't know exactly how many deer they checked in, but generosity, what I'm saying, from an awful lot of people. Some were put together around mid-20s to high $20,000 worth of value on giveaway stuff. That's pretty amazing.
That is amazing.
That, guns and, whatever, you name it, that they had it. That's a pretty good investment, you know what I'm saying, into our youngsters, into those people that we need to create some excitement about it. But it is a shrinking trend. We need real work in that area.
Right, and then they're again, getting into the youth. Well, what I do, I took this job to preserve wildlife for future generations. It's not for my generation, it's for my kids and their kids, right? So it's not for us. We're a little bit in the older section. So we have to do to get those kids out there, and hopefully what we teach those kids, they're going to instill in the next generation, and it's an ongoing process. But if, you know, we don't have those programs to do, we're missing out. And we need to get the youth involved, and that's one way that they're doing it.
You just think about information technology, you just think about knowledge on habitat, you think about knowledge on deer quality management, you think about even, you know, any of the technology, even gun ballistics and all of these particular things. Look, in my lifetime, pretty amazing. Pretty amazingly how much more information, you know, there is to talk about to your grandkids.
Right.
And for them to learn about, and that just keeps coming at us every year.
But let's not forget the basics either. You know, the ethical way to hunt, the way, you know, permits, and doing everything the right way, because what those kids are taught, they're impressionable. You know, they're watching you. If they see you do something illegal, what are they going to do? Probably the same thing. So don't follow his lead. Like I said, yeah, the technology stuff, we need to get that in there too, but we still need the basics.
The 101, I totally concur with you, because those things are at the core.
Right. That's the
that we're seeking, you know. Get out into nature.
Right.
Learn to appreciate that.
Exactly.
Do research, you know what I'm saying, on what you've got. It ain't no fun, not, you know, there comes a point in everybody's life, I think, pretty much everybody's life, that coloring outside the lines as far as hunting, you know, or fishing or whatever is concerned, isn't no more, you know, it's not fun.
Right.
I'm not sure it ever is for anybody, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's a certain amount of people, probably.
Very small percentage.
But it's a small percentage. And speaking of that, you know, when I grew up, well, still growing, but, you know, there were certain areas of our geographic area that were notoriously known for deer poaching, you know, specifically. I don't hear so much about that anymore. Am I wrong?
Still goes on, not as much as it
once did.
Right. And I like to say that's just because of the good enforcement we have in the county, but
you got good partners now, though, too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People that spend $5,000 an acre,
right,
you know, to come out hunting, I understand it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they could let me as a good neighbor hunt on there because I let them, you know what I'm saying, do the same thing. But I do understand, you know what I'm saying, that they've made an investment here, and beware. Beware violators, you know, and they have an absolute right and a duty.
Right. And that's what, over my career, early on, people didn't want to come forth with information for lack of
the family.
You know, they didn't know getting their hay bales on fire or anything like that. But now it's turned the corner where people are just like, well, that's wrong, and I'm going to report them. You can remain totally anonymous. I don't need to know your name. Obviously, need to know the information, because if you know, have to work on something. But yeah, totally anonymous. People are calling a lot more than they used to. Like I said, is our poaching, is it 50%? No, you have a small group, small percentage that is actually what you classify as poachers. Now, do we write tickets during deer season? Yes, but it's just mistakes that people made. It's not a poaching aspect. It's, you know, got caught up in the moment, whatever, just made a bad decision. Good people just had a bad act right there.
And you know, honestly, we both know, well, I know, that sometimes amongst, you know, certain age groups of people, you know, that bad decisions are made. That would have never been made, you know what I'm saying, on one's own or whatever. You know, you see that deer over there? You know, I don't know exactly if it's illegal or illegal or whose ground is on,
Right.
but, you know.
You do that to people.
You know, and it just boom, and you know, it's
Sometimes
off the road or do whatever, but
Right.
you know.
Sometimes peer pressure, you know, if it's the second weekend, everybody in deer camp has got a deer, and here you are, you don't have one. Are you going to possibly make a decision that
Could be.
to get a deer? It's possible. Like I said, what you classify as the poachers is just a minute fraction of the people. I come in contact with great people all the time, even though they've had a mistake. You know, we work through it. They're not bad people. It's just you had a bad decision. We're human. People make choices, you know.
Yeah.
But the simple ones, to easy ones to reduce is just have permits. You know, we still have individuals where sometimes they don't get a permit or forget to get one or choose not to get one for whatever reason. But that's just a basic one that, you know, everybody needs permits and things like that.
Challenges for the department on a continual basis. CWD, you know, still a challenge.
Yes.
Making progress on it?
Yes, will you eliminate it? Probably not, but you want to try to contain it. We're in the CWD management zone because of Franklin County's had some positive. Gaston County to date has not had a positive CWD case, but we are in the management zone, which there are regulations with, you know, transporting deer now as of last year, even harvested deer in Gaston County. If you live in Osage County, that those deer, you can't take the whole deer into Osage County unless it goes to a processor. So you couldn't process your own deer taken from Gaston County back to another county unless it's boned out here in Gaston County or taken to a processor or taken to
So Osage County has CWD restrictions?
They do not.
Okay.
But because Gaston County,
Who's in the zone?
we're in the zone, they are not. But any deer that's taken in Gaston County, if it leaves their county
Okay.
whole, it has to go to a processor, licensed processor within 48 hours. Otherwise, you have to take the boned out meat. Then you can take it across the county lines. And that's just because of the processors have special requirements of how to get rid of the carcass to prevent CWD spread.
Right.
So if you would take one here and take it back to Osage County and then process it and then dump it in Osage County, if that deer was positive, we don't know, then that could be in the landscape over in Osage County. So we've taken it from here and made our CWD problem this wide, so.
New regulations and just to dumb this down a little bit, you know what I'm saying, for my benefit. You know, anybody who lived in a rural area has always, driving down a county road, always seen, you know, deer guts, you know what I'm saying? Carcasses laying there that have been, probably legally taken, you know what I'm saying, however it is. But, you know, that's exactly what you don't want. Right. You know, if you're in a CWD area or CWD zone, to, you know, haul those back and let scavengers or whatever get that virus. It's a virus, right? Or is it a bacteria? I don't know.
It's a prion that deer can transmit from one deer to deer just by touching noses, essentially. So if this deer had it, they touch noses, they can transmit it that way. EHD, which is the hemorrhagic disease we get from the midge fly. Every time we have hot, dry conditions, we have it every year. We have a few of those. That is just the midge fly bites that deer, and that deer can't spread it to another deer. If that deer contracts CWD, it's fatal.
Is that kind of like anaplasmosis on cattle or no? Probably not. Probably.
That's a big word for me. I'm just a game warden. I don't know. But EHD deer, we've had some that have lived through it. They look kind of skinny, but they make it through the winter, and then they can survive. CWD deer, it could be a week, it could be 2 years. They will die eventually. There is no coming out of it. They're not going to live through it. CWD deer, it's fatal.
So the CWD has changed some regulations in regard to game feeders.
Correct.
You can't no longer put out
You can't have any corn, any minerals, any salt licks in Gaston County because we're in the management zone any time of the year unless that corn or grain is totally fenced off to where deer cannot get to it.
Kind of defeating the purpose, ain't it?
Defeating the purpose. The only exception to that rule is you can have corn out within 100 feet of any occupied dwelling. And essentially that's for deer viewing, I guess, is why that's still in there. Possibly could change that regulation as well. But yeah, as it is, we've been in the COD management zone now for, geez, I want to say 4 or 5 years.
Really, it probably has been, Jason.
So yeah, we can't have any corn, you can't hunt it over anyway, but you can't have it in the middle of the summer. You can't even place it out because that congregates deer into one spot. We've had the opposition say, well, what about a cut cornfield? Deer go out there and congregate. Well, we can't shut down the farmers from doing it, obviously.
Right.
But if there's anything we as sportsmen can do, this is one avenue to slow the spread down.
And as a cattle farmer, I'm not going to fear putting out a feeder, you know what I'm saying, and feeding my cows,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, because that's, that's just part of what you got to do sometimes or whatever. But we all understand, you know what I'm saying.
And our pregnancy rate on CWD is minuscule compared to some other states, which we want to keep it there.
Yes. Another challenge is the processing themselves. The processors, and finding a place, I should say, to get your deer processed. A lot of, processors have, went to only, they don't want to bone anything, you know what I'm saying? Boned up meat, before you can do it. And some processors have just kind of quit doing it altogether because, in all honesty, the demand is so huge, because we're in that business,
right.
But the demand is so huge for, getting beef butchered, that
Hogs
and hogs that it is a significant thing. Don't misunderstand me, because many of our processors around here have made very well over a period of time on doing deer.
Right.
It was a substantial part of their business. Now they got choices to make, and it does take extra investment. You know what I'm saying? For these processors, extra storage, extra way to put it. You can't mix this.
To get extra employees for a deer season because you're bringing in a lot of deer potentially. So yeah, I mean, there's some overhead there. And what we're finding, at least what I'm finding in Gaston County, for instance, is we have a lot of people who process their own. They'll get a group of guys.
Exactly. A lot.
Yeah, more than people realize. So they're just not processing it themselves. So it's kind of, it's a supply-demand type of deal. But yeah, processors, it is just to do deer in general, because you have to pretty much shut everything else down just to do that deer there, the vast number that you have. So
we haven't did our own, deer sausage in 2 years, I guess, since we've kind of been really busy with the other, and Gus can make it down there. But it is amazing to me, and I miss that. You know what I'm saying? And not necessarily the work, but doing what we do, because we always take, get some hog and do some hams and bacon and cure that and hang it and kind of smoke it. But it is amazing to me. People know that we have did that and we share that with them. How many people bring sticks to deer sausage in here that they make? Mm-hmm. It's amazing.
it is.
And some unbelievable, meticulous stuff that,
That's another great thing. It's probably been passed down from
generation to generation.
Kind of in our area, making homemade wine, people made that for generations. And it's kind of passed it down, and now you're at a crossroads where is that knowledge of something like that deer process, is it still getting passed on down? And what I'm seeing it is the same thing with deer season. It's the deer camps, the camaraderie of going in for a weekend at deer camp and hanging out with people and doing that. That's what people really enjoy. It's like you said, for the older ones, if I get a deer, I get a deer. It's not that it is what it is, but it's just, hey, we go out to deer camp and, hang with the guys and
Tell stories.
tell stories, and, now they're bringing the younger generation.
Truth facts, Grace, in other words, truth facts.
Oh, yeah, it's gospel, it's all true.
Hey, we're talking with Jason. I come in here and a corporal in the Missouri Department of Conservation, game warden agent, conservation agent. We always appreciate him coming in here because we just never get enough to talk about this stuff as far as I'm concerned,
Sit here all day.
Yeah, there's no question, but, lucky for you all, we're going to be here a little more time. So we're going to take a little break here on KTUI, 1560 AM, 94.1 FM, our Facebook Live, and let Gracie bring us up to speed on where we can get something to eat or what else is going on in our neck of the woods this great weekend that's ahead of us. And by the way, looking outside, almost all the clouds have now dissipated in the last hour, and it's beautiful blue sky out there.
Alrighty, just got a couple things here. The Owensville Senior Center will have a fish fry Friday, November 19th. Carryouts will be available. They'll be serving starting at 4, and dinners are $9 a plate, and they'll have catfish, shrimp, coleslaw, potato salad, and dessert. This Friday night at the White Mule, we will be serving steak, shrimp, beef kebabs, and salmon from 5 until 8:30. Saturday, we will be serving pizza, wings, and hamburgers from noon until 5, and then steaks after 5. Then Sundays, all you can eat pan-fried chicken and roast beef from 11 until 3:30.
Do you deliver to the deer stand?
No, we do not.
Is it like Grubhub or something? Something delivered wherever I am, I can tell you, you can...
But you-
I mean, there would be a few places that I would consider delivering to on somebody's pristine deer stand that I would like to get in territory I've never seen before.
Right.
But then I'm really going to get invited to get
I know I'm not going to do it there, but...
Yeah, maybe I'll look at drone delivery, Grace. There you go. You know what I'm saying? There's an idea for you.
But you can stop in after you get out of the deer stand for lunch.
That's-
What? See? They always have an answer. That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't know where she gets it from. Her mom.
She's quick to the...
Okay, so get out and support some of these endeavors here this weekend, and everybody in the restaurant business, everybody in the quick shop business, everybody in the ammo business, gun business. It's a busy, good time for it, and speaking of ammo, it's a premium, and it's hard to get a hold of sometimes exactly what you need. So I don't want you to tell you to be conservative with your ammo, because you need to do what you need to do, but sight your gun in, you know what I'm saying, or have somebody sight it in. That's what I did.
Yeah. And if you buy one, because I generally have that every year, if you buy one from Cabela's or Bass Pro and they say, well, they set it up for me, it's all ready to go,
Not so much.
shoot that first. Because I've had stories of people telling me that, I shot a deer 4 times and missed it, and I just got this brand new gun, and they hadn't sighted it in, because they said Cabela's,
Said ready to go.
ready to go. So always do your due diligence and your homework out there and do that. But while I wanted to get to the CWD, we will have the mandatory check stations, the sampling stations, the opening weekend, Saturday and Sunday. One is here in Drake at the MoDOT shed, and then we have at the Herman City Park and also at the Owensville City Park. So every deer harvested those opening days, Saturday and Sunday, have to be delivered to a sampling station, one of those 3, to take samples from.
And, that's kind of the way we used to do things, and it's a great opportunity to show and tell and brag a little bit, and, or not. The good congregation part, though,
Always, unless you're hunting, if you're hunting Cooper Hill, you'll have something to brag about.
Yeah, well,
We have right here in Gadsden County.
it is pretty awesome. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it probably run over the hill from us in Gasconade to go to Osage. I'm sure of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And don't just wait on the antler deer, you know, we do need some does harvested as well.
Deer quality management, tremendously important. Very skeptical, on the onset of some of this, but, the bucks in the neighborhoods prove, you know what I'm saying, that deer quality management work probably are to be even, in my opinion, be looked at closer by some people who are not. You know what I'm saying? Not to mandate anything, but, harvesting some of these immature bucks is not, it's not necessarily the right thing to do if you are doing whatever. And, there's plenty does out here if you're meat hunters. Deer don't need to be harvested. Understand the difference of it, and be a good enough hunter. Do your homework enough to know to some degree, there's a lot of does out here that haven't had young ones, you know what I'm saying, and they're normally the absolute biggest, and you'll recognize them to some degree, and they're going to hang in the same areas a lot of times, and eat resources and chase off other deer, you know what I'm saying, that could be more productive. So these old dominant does, that if you're a farmer, if you're out there, she hasn't produced, an offspring.
Sportsmen, you're going to see that. They all know that. They see that. But yeah, you have to take some does out, and that's what are we seeing alongside the road? Tom, they're moving. They have been moving for about a week and a half, pretty heavy. That's only going to get probably better with that. So keep an eye on that. Be safe out there. If you have questions, contact us. We'll be sure to answer them.
That's the biggest thing. Good luck and be safe. Enjoy the weekend with your friends and family, and it's a great time of the year, and we've been very fortunate thus far, you know what I'm saying, not to have any bad weather, but a little cool weather is going to be great for everybody, and it's going to be dry out there the way it looks.
Yeah,
and I just hate, you can hang deer, and you probably won't have to wade mud, and God, that's good.
That is good. I'll be looking forward to that. So keep your fingers crossed.
Hey, thank you, Jason. Thanks for what you do. Appreciate you being here, and thank you for being along in here, in here today. And God bless the veterans. Again, thank you for your service. Thank you for what you do, continue to do, and we'll be talking more about veterans as well. We have another opportunity to revisit, what they do for us. What do we got coming up next week, Grace?
Something. I'm not sure yet.
We got something, but whatever we do will be legal.
No question.
Jason, a pleasure. Always good to see you. God bless you. We'll see you here at the White Mule next week, if not sooner. Have a great week.